So, hi everyone, nice to see you here to talk about gamification. So we'll start in about 3 minutes. So you still have time to invite your colleagues or perhaps grab some coffee, grab a notebook. And yeah. But in the meanwhile, the ones who are here, I would really appreciate if you write on the chat on the right side and tell us where are you from. I'd love to see those different places. It's always very interesting. Okay, so let's get started. So today the topic we're going to cover are consumer brands and using gamification to reach and engage. We worked with, I think, hundreds of different consumer brands, and one of the main users who are using Adact are actually different consumer brands from food industry and also from other industries as well. We have also agencies using Adact because usually one of the reasons why consumer brands are really interested is that engagement is very important, and in many cases you can't buy those kind of products online, so therefore they have to engage people with their advertising so that when they are in a buying situation, then the brand is a top of mind, or the product. They will remember the product, or they recognize it when they are shopping. So, and gamification is very effective for that because you can get very huge engagement lengths, and I will talk about that soon. So the reason why I think is very good that you're here today is that gamification in marketing is I think the future, and it's and there are also already different brands using gamification, but there are still not that much knowledge around, and this is still a new topic for marketers. But I see that the ones who are currently getting knowledge about this are they have, I think, huge advantage, and they are ahead of others, And so what we're going to talk about is that we are today going to talk about some common questions regarding gamification, different methods for finding ideas, some marketing goals and KPIs that you can achieve, and implementing gamification into your marketing funnel. And also we talk about creating ads and promoting the campaign. And then if you're generating leads, that I know are different e-commerce, even though they are consumer brands, they have e-shops or e-commerce, or they're using email marketing. So I will talk about that as well. And shortly about myself, I am CMO of Adact, and we started with Adact about 1.5 years ago. And the reason why we started is that we saw that there was a huge demand for gamification marketing, but there is not that much. It was very hard to create games. You had to go to a software development company, and they would create and develop a game for you from scratch. It was very expensive. It took more than a month of work. So, but in order to make gamification successful, it has to be very simple to understand for the users. So therefore, there are not that many different game types that you can use. You should still stick to the most common ones that have been proven to work. So therefore, it's much better to use some presets and templates and softwares to create those. So that's why we created Adact, and we have different hundreds of brands have used Adact to create gamification campaigns, and currently we are top 7 startup in the Baltics. Just a fun fact. And we have a team of 8 currently, but we're growing. So things are going pretty well because different global brands from various industries have been using Adact, and we also see we have different public organizations as well. For example, European Parliament is using Adact to promote voting, and so therefore we see that this is a huge untapped potential in different industries, and not only consumer brands, but with all sorts of industries like B2B or very conservative industries like banking or insurance as well. But now the question that I think is on I think all of you are wondering, because this is one of the common questions that I get asked a lot, is that who actually plays those different marketing campaigns? Like, who has the time for that? And my target audience are not teenagers. The short answer is that you get the players who you're targeting. So if you're targeting teenagers, then that's what you're going to get. Because we see that different age groups and different genders are playing these type of games. It's hard to draw some kind of conclusions. But I know that some of the people from the audience are from India. And there just recently they did a good study there, and they saw that 80% of the casual gamers are 30 plus. But now we're talking about the people who are actually gaming. But we see that people who are interested, those simple gamification marketing campaigns, are actually the ones who are not only in the gaming industry, not only like active gamers, but they are also some of the people who are just scrolling the web and they're looking for some entertainment. They don't have to be some active gamers, not at all. But yeah, for example, in India, 72% of the women gamers, they are highly committed gamers, and but most of them they play in 10-minute increments. So that is something that we've covered as well. People play in a row for a few minutes. And also I've tried to draw some kind of conclusions, which of the genders have been playing, but it's very hard to do that, because if you have a cosmetics brand and you're targeting them and your Facebook following are mostly women, then you have the 90% of the players will be women. But if you are car company, for example, or I don't know, some kind of brand that is targeted to men, then you have most of the players will be men. So if we are targeting them equally, both men and women, for example, if we have some kind of consumer brands that all of the people can use, then we also see that it will be sometimes 50-50, sometimes like you can see right here, sometimes it's 60-40. We've seen that it has been 16% of players have been male, sometimes it has been female. So it depends also on the culture. So I think in different countries it's very different. And for example, in terms of age groups, we've seen that in Estonia, for example, we have there are about 1/3 or one of, I think about 30% of the population are Russian people. So and we see that there is also difference between Estonians and Russians, because there was one company targeted men and women ages 13 to 34, and we saw that the highest engagement length was in Estonia. It was if I'm not mistaken 23 to 27, but in Russia it was actually 28 to 34. So yeah, it's depending on the culture. But do games in marketing actually work, or is this just some kind of entertainment? And if you have some kind of extra money to spend, or it's the end of the year and you still have some money left, then yeah, you should use gamification. Definitely not. I think gamification is something that can be used, that actually brings results, and we have many case studies proving that we actually haven't had any kind of case study that hasn't worked at all. Like usually it sometimes it might not bring that good results as you might expect, but yeah, expectations, different people have different expectations. And thanks, Mehak, for your comment. This seems to be a good option for Kid Startup. Definitely, definitely a good choice. So now, one of the main things that makes gamification marketing different from other type of advertising is that you have huge engagement lengths. So with print ads, you have 1.7 seconds. With outdoor ads, 1.5, and with online banners, it's 1 second. So now, my question for you, what do you think, what is the average engagement length of gamification marketing campaign? And now I'm not talking about the one length of gameplay, but actually the session length, when how much a player actually engages with the game in a row. So for one session. If you look, for example, gameplay can be 40 seconds or 30 seconds, but he starts again. So what do you think? What are your guesses? Please write on the chat. I'd love to see your answers. I know that there's a little bit delay in the chat, so I might receive answers. Okay, I now see the answers. So there's 2 to 3 minutes, 3 seconds. Okay, the person called you. You're quite pessimistic about gamification, but hopefully I can change your mind. So the correct answer is actually it's 9+ minutes, or it's actually, yeah, it's usually depending on average, it's 6 to 13 minutes. But we actually also have a case study in consumer brands. There was actually one food brand who were able to get average engagement length for 16 minutes. So yeah, so this is something that really differentiates gamification from other type of advertising, those huge engagement lengths. So if my goal is that in a few years, currently, like companies when they are doing their marketing mix in consumer brands marketing, they usually have some kind of, I don't know, radio, television, digital, social media marketing ads, and I think gamification is something that you should include in your marketing mix, because now then you have something that gets huge engagement lengths, and you can use other type of ads just to get their attention or like to grab their eye, show their product. But gamification is something that where you get actually you can stick like your then they will actually memorize this type of things that you're offering. And so here you can also see how many times people can actually play these type of games. So on the right, let's talk about on the right first. There you can see that that the first place played 2.5 hours, and the second was almost as long, and third place as well. So now you and this was actually one gameplay. So this wasn't the session length. Session length was even higher. This was actually one session length. Those people got so good at that simple game where different objects were dropping down and you had to catch them in the shopping cart. It was cosmetics brand. They got so good at it that they were able to play it for 2.5 hours without losing. So I am not that good in these games, but yeah, those people certainly, they practiced it for over a week, and then they were able to get so good to play 2.5 hours in a row. Now you might think that it's some kind of teenager or something like that, or somebody who's very huge gamer, but actually, as they commented on their score on Facebook, then I was able to see that those people were 30 plus women, and yeah, and on the left side you can see a record holder so far has been undisputed, and he played a simple memory game where you had to pair same images, same products. Those were salads, so food product. And he played over 4,000 times. It was 18 hours of pure game time in total over 3 weeks. And you might think that that's some kind of teenager on a holiday. But actually, the correct answer is that, as she also shared her score on Facebook, then that was 70 plus years old grandma. So she's quite technically savvy, so very active on social media, and she has no problem playing these type of games, and yeah. So it's a huge myth that only young people or only kids are playing these type of games. Actually, we see that the ages 13 to 17 are actually playing less than the people who are older than them or adults. And one thing that is also very different from other type of advertising that gamification provides is that you will have 100% focus. You can't multitask while playing a game. When you're with radio ads, then we have you're driving a car at the same time. When you're looking at TV, you're making a sandwich. But yeah, with games, you can't do anything else. So if you get those engagement thanks, you can be certain that the player was actually 100% focused on your brand. So I think Mehak, I think it's a very good idea to target parents. So yeah, and I think it certainly can be part of the website for discounts or something, because the results you can expect from ad campaigns is. These are the on average. So when you ask, have we drawn some kind of average conclusions of the metrics, then the bounce rate usually is 11 to 22%. Completion rate, how many people finish the game, is 96 to 98%. The click-through rate, so how many people are clicking to the next links after the game, will be 10 to 30%. And the average engagement length, as you already heard, is 5 to 16 minutes. So you can use gamification to stand out, increase traffic to your website. So yeah, get some new fresh traffic, generate leads. You can also raise your brand awareness with it, and you can reduce bounce rate plus increase average engagement length on your website, which is good for SEO. So it can, answering to your question, Mehak, yes, it can be part of the website. So now I will shortly share some of the rules that are with gamification. Luckily, we've already applied those kind of rules in our software Adact. So that means that if you use Adact for games, then you already have those type of things. But I think it's in some cases, creative people tend to have some questions, or they tend to not understand why those games have to be so simple as they are right now. So the first rule is that the feedback has to be a reward of an action. So the game has to be so simple that the person understands for which type of action he got the reward. By reward, I mean points or score or some place in a leaderboard, position in a leaderboard. And if the game is too complicated, then he won't understand anymore what is it that he gets a feedback for. But the feedback is the most crucial element in gamification, and that is what makes gamification very effective, because you get immediate feedback on actions that you do. And simple interactivity. So that means that you're in order to make gamification successful, you need to have one button to press and no tutorial needed. You can have a tutorial if you want, but the tutorial should be usually we suggest that it will be, we recommend that it will be only one sentence. So something, for example, avoid apples or something like that. And usually that's all that you need. And sometimes we actually have some kind of games that don't even have any kind of tutorial, that there's doesn't even have any kind of explaining sentence. There's just play our game and you can win prizes, and people click play. And when the game is very simple, something like Super Mario or Candy Crush, people just understand immediately how it works. Because then you have more brain power left to process campaign. Because you need to keep in mind that these kind of people, you're not targeting people who are looking to play some kind of game. You're not targeting video gamers. You're targeting people who are just surfing the web. They're in a relaxed mode. They are basically browsing zombies. On Facebook, when you scroll the feed and there are videos, you don't even have to start. You don't even have to click play. Those videos start automatically. So that means you can't expect people to read some kind of manuals before they start playing the game. So that means, that it has to be very simple. Just people clicks play immediately, and then game immediately starts. It's very simple to understand. And then he also has have that mind on the purpose. If the game is easy, then he actually recognizes your brand, and he's ready to do click to the next links and so on. And the focus won't be on the gameplay, not only. And just to prove that simple games work, what do you think? What is the most downloaded video game? Write your guesses on the chat. I'd love to hear your responses. What do you think? What is the most downloaded video game so far? Okay, one person mentioned Candy Crush. Good choice, by the way. Pac-Man. Oh, that's actually, I think this is a 6th or 7th webinar that we've had so far. And you're the first person who mentions Pac-Man. So actually, we don't have Pac-Man on our software, but I think that might be we should maybe include that. Mario, good choice. Actually, Super Mario type of game is actually on our website. It's called Endless Runner. You can check it out. Mobile Legend. Oh, I haven't heard about that. Okay, so the correct answer is actually one of the persons said. So sometimes these are also some of the responses that I get is that this will be Fortnite or PUBG or Counter-Strike Go. And one person just I saw that mentioned PUBG. But actually the correct answer is something that also one person said. So it's Candy Crush with 2.7 billion downloads. So these games, they also they have. I think PUBG has about 1 billion downloads or something like that. So a huge number. But yeah, Candy Crush is 2.7. And now when you think about what is the thing that you actually do in the game? What is the action? Is that you use your thumb and you move your thumb from left to right and from up to down. When you get tired, then you maybe use your index finger. But that's all you do in that game. Like very plain, simple game. But yeah, this is the most downloaded video game because people are still enjoying it, even though it's over 10 years old. And it's still the most popular. We also actually have that game on our website as well. So I will write in the chat the link, so you can actually check it out. Is that we Oh, I actually wrote a little bit wrong link. So yeah, so the correct link is this one. We actually had that type of you can create your own Candy Crush using React, and it will look pretty good. And and Candy Crush is actually the game that we've had the highest engagement length so far as well. So yeah, you should pick one action, and our games also have only one action in the games. And in order to make gamification work, is that you need to have some gradual increase from 6 seconds, and you should make the person lose in the first 45 seconds, because then you end the game on a peak. You have to end the game when a person is having the most fun. It might sound unethical, but this is actually how you get him to play again and again. It's similar when comparing movies to series. So when you're looking at a movie, you watch one movie and it's 1.5 hours, and then you go to sleep. When you start watching series on Netflix, then you tend to watch one season in a row, and so yeah, until morning. So the same logic, and why you do that is that it always every episode ends on a peak. So the same logic applies to gamification as well, is that you need to end on a peak when a person is having the most fun, and then the game ends. The game length is 45 seconds, and he has to start again. So, but now actually creating one, or where to start, is that I think you need to start at first. What are you trying to promote? Is it a product, service, and do you want to generate leads? Do you want to create awareness, or you want to educate your users? Those are the things that if we help our clients to figure out those games, then those are the questions that we ask as well. So, and at first, what I also do, if a person asks my advice on what game type should work for in their industry, is that I go to their websites at first, and I see there are different videos, there are different text materials, articles, they have some kind of mascot sometimes. They have an interesting product. I can create a game around that same product. For example, if it's a vacuum cleaner, then I can create a game where a vacuum cleaner is moving it has to collect, it has to clean dirt. And so yeah, and now when you're brainstorming, for example, if you have a mascot, then you can make the mascot act. You can create a drop game where that mascot has to catch something, or you can make an endless runner game, which is similar to Super Mario, where a person has to run and jump over obstacles. When you're promoting a product quality and is, for example, strength, then we have a whack-a-mole game type for that, so you can like hit it with your thumb. Then we have if for example, if your product is battery, then you can create the game. How long can you last? And there's a Duracell rabbit that will be running. Or if you're promoting a product components, or if you want to create, if you have some new drink that is coming out and you want to show different ingredients that are on the product, then you can create the memory game or Candy Crush, or you can create also a drop game where different ingredients are dropping down and you need to catch them into your drink. There is one game that we've had, one Carlsberg group actually used it for one of the non-alcoholic beers. If you're promoting, it's very important for you to for players to recognize the package or to memorize the package. Then you can create a tower stacking game, so you can stack packages on top of each other and build a tower of those products. So yeah, and also if your service or product is very unique, or you know that your audience are like above average educated about this or very passionate about your industry, then you can create the quiz like did you know, or you can make a personality test, and the person can find out which type of consumer are they, or like for example we've had. Which type of home decorator are you? Which type of news digester are you? Or which type of, for example, mini car brand that created the game, find out which mini suits for your needs. So a person had to answer a set of questions, and then they get personalized results, which type of mini suits with their needs or with their lifestyle. Now, when you're creating a design for the game, this is actually the one thing that actually Adact users are doing. So we provide them with a template, but the design is something that you need to drag and drop your own design properties, and then the game will be ready. So, but then, you should definitely show your the prizes that the players can win. Prizes are not you can create the game without prizes, but it's good to grab more attention, get more traction. You should show your product and brand. So here's actually this is a tower stacking game, and here you can see this is a food brand, and this is their package, and you need to stack those packages on top of each other. Now, in order to succeed in this game, you are forced to stare at the product and at the package. So if that is important for you, then it's definitely a good choice. And branding is very important. You can brand. You can use. We definitely using your products, your colors on the game. But one thing that you need to also keep in mind is that 90% of the players are from mobile. That means that sometimes what I've seen is that designers tend to get too obsessed about creating that design for the desktop game. Then you have a lot of space to add different elements, and then they start coming up with questions like, can I add some kind of cool element there? Can I add sound effects, or can I make more animations or something like that? And then what I always say that 90% of the players are playing for mobile. So that means that if you want to add some kind of elements in addition to your prizes, your branding, and the game itself, you don't have any room in that mobile. So is there a point to create something only for 10% of the players? But you can still show your prizes in mobile view as well. So here we can see a chocolate brand. So the Candy Crush based game is on top of it. It's like you can see it there, but on the bottom you can see like taste new colored chocolates. So this was a new brand, new product that they were promoting. Now, when you're creating text for the game, then we recommend to keep them as short as possible. This is one game, and the old copy that they needed for a game was that play running game and see how financially fit you are. Get at least 100 points to participate in raffle, and that's it. And the game was based on Super Mario, so it's very simple for users to understand. It didn't have any kind of explaining sentence how to play the game because people understood it immediately. But you can also spice up the copy by, for example, this is a Candy Crush based game that was done in Easter, and instead of just saying that get 3 of the same images in a row, what they did is that help them. Diego family is preparing for spring egg games. Help them put together teams of 3 and let the egg games begin. So I think it's a good way to add some kind of twist around it and use your branding in the copy as well. And when you're creating ads creative, so by ads creatives I mean the banners and the ads that you can get their attention. You can look the game site if it's not permanent in your website, if it's some kind of campaign, then it will be a website where you need to start driving traffic. And so therefore use different kind of channels that you have, but when you're creating those, when you're using ads for that, which is one of the most effective ways, is that you should show prizes and use short phrases, just like you can see here, the win, play. You should show the game a little bit, a sneak peek, and make the design similar to the game page. Then you get the lower bounce rate. We also recommend you use buttons and different visuals for different ad placements. So not to use one ad, but one, that is something, a very common mistake that people do, is that they create only one design visual for ads, and then they use it on all different places. But yeah, it works a lot better if you have different visuals for different placements. Now, some of the tips for media planning. I'm not expert in media planning, but as companies are asking it, and I have also asked some kind of questions from the media agencies who have used that, then I can give some kind of recommendations, but these might be very different in your country. But one thing that is certain is that you should use different channels if it's possible. So if you have some kind of newsletter list, use that. Send a newsletter that, hey, play our game. If you have a huge Facebook following, make a post. Use if you have some kind of Google Ads specialist on your company, then, and you're very good at Google Ads, then use Google Ads to get more clicks. And what we've seen in the Baltic countries and also in the UK is that Facebook gives the lowest cost per click. This is something that might be very different in the country where you're at. But one thing Facebook also provides is that you can optimize the ad so that you will pay per gameplay. You will create a conversion ad, and you treat the play button like some kind of add to cart button, and then you will start paying only when people play the game. And this is the way one company got lowest cost per engagement. And you should also change the visuals throughout the campaign period. With one set of visuals, you can get normal cost per click for about 1 month. If you want to keep your campaign running for more than a month, then you should either change your game, or you should change the visuals with what you're driving the traffic. And one thing that we also recommend, that you can use players' emails to create lookalike audience. You let the game run for about 2 weeks, and then you use the emails that you've collected so far, and you create lookalike audience for them. And you usually then, in this way, you can get more lower cost per click. And if you have different target groups, then use different visuals for them. Now talking about implementing this type of gamification into your marketing funnel. Let's say that the goal is lead generation. Then you should have some kind of ad or a post or something that you can drive traffic, and then you will have a game. Then you get in touch with the leads, and then you can do remarketing to them. Because you can have Facebook Pixel with Adact as well. You can add Facebook Pixel on the game, and then you can start doing retargeting for all the players. Why games are good for lead generation is that they have a reason to fill forms, and you can collect valuable information for every lead. And you have some kind of reason to open a conversation. You can point out that, hey, you got this type of score, or we see that you're this type of that this type of car fits your needs. So how about you come and visit our store? And if leads are important, then you should ask them before the game. Then more people leave their contact details. And you can use text-based games to get more information for every lead. For example, we had one company who created a game, personality test, find out which type of home decorator are you. And they use their own products for the choices. So you can see these are their own chairs, their own furniture, and they were able to get over 9,000 leads in about 2 to 3 weeks with their preferences. And they were able to make segments that were consisted about hundreds of people, and were able to make very targeted emails, very targeted offers. And when your goal is brand awareness or to reach new audiences, so here's one case study, the design that you're already familiar with, but now to talk about how successful was that game. So these are the impressions. Reach was over 900,000. Also, you need to keep in mind that this game was done in Estonia, which our whole population is 1.3 million people. So in India, this number would be, I think, 10 times higher or something like that. So, but the bounce rate was 16%, completion rate 96%. And now the results were so over 400,000 gameplays, and average engagement length was also very high. And you can read the full case study on our blog. When you go to our website at act.me and click blog, and then you can read it. Now you can also place it in your website to reduce bounce rate and increase engagement length of your web page. And you can also use these type of games for conversion. If you have an e-shop and people can actually purchase those products right after they play the game, then the funnel would be like this: that you will have an ad, then 75 to 89% of the visitors will start the game. Most of them will end the game, so they will actually see the end screen of the game, and then the 30% are clicking to the next links, and then you get new clients. In addition to immediate conversions, you also have their contact details, so you can make personalized offers. Based on the results, and if you have a Facebook pixel, then you can start doing retargeting also. So what I would do is that I think this type of games can be used in different phases of the journey. So you will have awareness phase where you can like, games are good because they bring attention and they stand out, and also these type of games are very contagious. And then for a consideration phase, you can give more information to help them decide by using gamifying that sort of education process. And then use games for immediate conversions. For example, Wheel of Fortune. When a person gets a discount, then they can convert immediately. Now, what I will do is that I will share my screen in order to show some case studies. So I hope you can see my screen, But yeah, so this is one of the case studies that you already saw. Then what we've also had is that we had National Geographic, and they wanted to get new subscribers for the magazine. So they used the Wheel of Fortune, and about 28% of the players landed in online store, and about 34 of those new visitors ordered their subscription, which is a discount subscription. So they get, I think 50% lower for the first 3 months. But that is the only way that actually they get new customers in social media with their ads. So yeah, very successful campaign. There was also a brand collab. So they wanted to drive customers to online store for purchasing their chocolates on their online store. I was actually surprised that people do that, but yes, they do. So they were able to get about 150,000 engagement links. About 11% of those clicked to the online store after the game, and about 4% of those who arrived at the online store, they purchased. And then in financial industry, there was one company who wanted to get new loan applications. So they created a drop game for Easter, and as you can see, this is not associated with their brand or money or loan or something like that at all, but it still worked because about 4.8% of the players applied for a no loan, and they were new customers. And then in telecom industry, they wanted to generate phone numbers and leads so that the telemarketing team can start calling them, and they were able to generate 1,600 unique phone numbers, and about 79% and 5% of those converted, which is a good rate for them. They were satisfied with these results. And yeah, and this is the furniture company that I already showed you as well. So now I will turn screen share off, and I will go back to the slides and show you the last case study as well. This was an event that was a Python conference targeted for Python developers, where they come together and they talk about developing in Python. Usually with events, you have a certain date where a due date until you can buy discount tickets, and everybody can do that. Publicly, they say out that until 1st of October, you can buy discount tickets. Now, what they did differently is that they had to sell more tickets than the previous year. So then what they did is that they created a Wheel of Fortune, and they didn't say something like, they didn't have some kind of specific due date where everybody can buy discount tickets. What they did is that, hey, play our games, win, and you might win tickets or merchandise. And about 96 or 98% of the players won discount ticket for 50 euros. But the conversion rate was much better if they had just said publicly that everybody can do it, because in this way, people actually felt that they won something just for them. So, there is a loss aversion effect that is something that makes gamification successful, is that when a person has won something already, then it's very hard for him. It's much harder for him to deny it or just to leave it there and not redeem it. So yeah, I think a good logic that you can apply on your website. Great Wheel of Fortune there. So hopefully you see yourself using gamification in the future. I will have a link. Published link, and you can, if you need some kind of help, then you can book a demo with us. We'll be happy to discuss and think about how gamification can help your marketing. I will also send the recording via email. So for all the people who had attended on LinkedIn, so then you can see some kind of things first, and you can share this presentation with your colleagues. But yeah, I really enjoyed the time with you, and if any questions arise, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or via email. You already know my email. It's andreas@adact.me, and yeah, I will look forward to working with you in the future, or maybe sharing thoughts in the future. Thank you, and have a nice weekend. Bye.